Okay, so lesson 3.1 is on pairs of lines and angles. And you've already taken some notes on those pairs of lines and angles. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to sketch this figure, and then we're going to answer some questions about this figure. So we've got a right rectangular prism. Rectangular box. And we want to know, first of all, we label it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and we have an I. And we want to be able to identify specific lines based on that figure. So the first question we have is which line or lines is or are parallel to line GH that contains point F? Okay, we'll talk about skews in just a second. So skip it for the moment and make sure you draw the figure. Okay. All right, so Joe, which line is parallel to GH that goes through point F? DC is parallel to GH. AB is parallel to GH. But which line is parallel to it that goes through F? EF, very good. Okay. So we have 4 parallel lines, one specifically that answers that question. The line that is parallel to GH that goes through F is EF. Make sure you're making your marks to show that they're lines. Okay. Which line is or are skew to GH that contain point F? Skew to GH and contains point F. So if you didn't get it in your notes, remind me, what are skew lines? Not parallel, not intersecting, and the key word is that they do not lie on the same plane. Okay? They are non-coplanar. So EF would be parallel to GH, correct? I said that a moment ago. Okay? Can't be parallel to it, can't lie on the same plane as it. So can someone find a line that is skew to GH that goes through F? Right, it can't help but make a rectangle. So we can't use AB because AB could form a plane, a rectangle. So we can't use that one. IF would be one. It's not a line that's actually pictured. But does everyone see how they would be skew? They don't lie on the same plane. Oh, actually they would lie on the same plane, wouldn't they? They would lie on this plane down here. Okay, so IF doesn't work. Kevin? BF. Does everyone see why Kevin said BF? Does that fit our rule for skew, our definition of skew lines? Not parallel to GH, not on the same plane as GH, does not intersect GH. Okay, good job. So BF, make sure you're using your proper symbolism. Line BF is a line through F that is skew to GH. Okay? Which lines are perpendicular to GH and contain point F? So picking on F again here. Which line is going to be perpendicular to GH that contains F? Jarrett. GF, very good. Because that bottom of that box, even though it doesn't look like it because it's in 3 dimensions, is going to form a right angle with GF. There's actually would be a perpendicular mark there. Okay? So GF is perpendicular to GH through F. Okay? Last question on this one. Which plane or planes is or are parallel to GHD, plane GHD, and contain point F? So plane GHD, GHD is this one that's shaded with the gray. So which plane is going to be parallel to that plane? What did you say again? BAE. Good. BAE is also a plane that's parallel to that one. And so when we denote a plane, we write the word plane because there's no symbol. And how many letters does it take to make a plane? 3. So we could say BAE, BAF, ABE, and so on. Okay? So far, so good? All right, onward and forward. Next slide says, now you don't have to draw this drawing. Just want to look at it visually to make sure we understand the symbolism here. We have a map with Papillion La Vista High School. And we have some lines, the streets around Papillion La Vista High School. Okay? Can someone name a pair of parallel lines for me? Adrian. Line DE and line HI. Everybody agree? Okay, DE looks like this. HI looks like this. Are they parallel? Absolutely. And in our geometry book, when they want us to know that lines are parallel, they will have an arrow, an extra arrow in the middle of that line denoting that they are parallel. So can someone give me another line that is parallel to DE and HI? AJ. BC. This is the symbol for parallel. 2 vertical lines, sometimes they're slanted. Okay, that's our symbol for parallel lines. Okay, and could I have also called that line AB instead? Because line AB is coincident to BC. They're the same line. Okay? All right. What is this? What are these things? Why the double arrows? How do you think line AF and line BH are related? They are parallel. Good. Different color line here. Line AF and line BD or BH are also parallel lines, right? So why the double arrows? Why the double arrows on those lines? Coincident? Are they coincident? It's a good idea. What do you think? Kevin? Good. Remember when we had two segments that were congruent, we would give them a single tick mark? And then if we had two other segments that were congruent in our drawing, we would give them a double tick mark. That says that these two are congruent to each other, but not to the first two. Same thing here. Because DE and HI are parallel, we want to be able to denote that they're parallel. But notice that these guys are moving in the opposite direction. They intersect those two lines. So we need another mark to show that they're parallel to each other, not to the original two. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right. So next question. What are a pair of perpendicular lines? What's our symbol for perpendicular? Dawson, can you name a pair of perpendicular lines for me? Which one? I'm sorry. GI is perpendicular to EJ. Very good. How'd you know? Because you have your notes. Good. And those notes probably tell you that this is the symbol for perpendicular, right? Means it forms four right angles there. Okay. This is the way we write perpendicular to. It's a lot faster than saying writing all the way out perpendicular to. Okay. And there are other perpendicular lines, right? So is GJ is this guy perpendicular to DH? What do you think, Jade? Is GJ perpendicular to DH? No. I agree. Why not? They don't look like it, do they? Okay. Okay, so last thing we need to do today is to make sure that we understand the notes that we took. So we want to make sure that we know what corresponding angles are, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and also consecutive interior. So we've got four types of angles that we need to know and be able to identify and recognize. So when I ask you what consecutive interior means, what would you say? Consecutive means same side of the transversal, and interior means inside, within, between. Okay, so when we look at this figure, we have two lines that are being cut by a transversal. So this line is our transversal. Okay, that's our transversal. Yes, sir. Yes, I would jot this down, this exact picture, on your notes. Okay, these are your notes, your examples. And we have 8 angles, 1, 8, 2, 3, 7, 6, 4, and 5. So draw that picture. Draw the picture. So yes, on your blue sheet actually has what your corresponding angles are like, what your alternate interior angles are, what your alternate exterior angles, and your consecutive interior angles are. So what we're looking at is first of all, we're going to talk about consecutive interior. So consecutive means on the same side of the transversal. The same side of the line that intersects those two lines. Okay? Then interior means on the inside. So we want to identify all of the pairs of consecutive interior angles. Okay? So, first of all, which ones are inside? Which are our interior angles? 3, 4, 7, and 8. Very good. Okay? Consecutive means on the same side, right? So which pair is interior on the same side? 3 and 4. Angle 3 and angle 4 are consecutive interior. Okay? What's our other pair of consecutive interior? 8 and 7. Okay? So far, so good. Alternate exterior. What does the word alternate mean? Change. The opposite. So we're looking for the opposite sides of the transversal on the outside. Okay? So, Quentin, can you give me a pair of alternate exterior angles? Angle 1 and angle 6. 1 and 6, are they on the outside of the figure? Are the exterior angles? Everybody agree? But are they alternate exterior? Which one's alternate exterior to number 1? Opposite side of the transversal, outside. Kevin. 5. So angle 1 and angle 5 are both exterior, but they're on opposite sides of that transversal. Very cool with that? Okay. If 1 and 5 are one pair of alternate exterior angles, what's the other pair? Thank you, Amber. Angle 2 and angle 6. So far, so good? Joe, whose book do you have? Okay. I'll look up the number in just a second. Okay. Corresponding. What does corresponding mean? I like together. What'd you put in your notes? Your blue sheet. Two angles are corresponding when they have corresponding positions. Okay, so they defined our book defined it as having this, using, or defined the corresponding angles by using the same word, which isn't usually a good way to define it. Okay, so what you're looking for is you're looking for them to be on the same side of the transversal, but they have, and I shouldn't make this equal because these won't be equal, but they have the same position. You see that 1 and 7 on the same side of the transversal, and they have that same position. They're both in the same location of each of the other lines. So 1 and 7 are corresponding. What's another pair of corresponding angles? All right, somebody whisper 2 and 6. 2 and 4. Good. 2 and 4 are on the same side. They're corresponding angles. What's another pair? 8 and 6. And then one last. James, what's going on? Our last one. What's our last pair of corresponding angles? 3 and 5. Very good. Okay. Last part. What are alternate interior angles? Alternate means opposite sides. Interior means inside. So we want opposite inside angles. Alternate interior. So which are my inside angles? 3, 4, 7, and 8, right? So which one would be alternate interior to number 8, or angle 8? 4. And what would be the other pair of alternate interior angles? 3 and 7. Is this familiar to you all? Did you see this in middle school for your visa test? No? Okay. All right. So here's the assignment. Looks like a lot. It's just a lot of writing. In class, I'm hoping that you can get done. We have a lot of time left. Hoping you can get done with lesson 3.1 on page 129. Questions 1, 2 through 20, even, and 24 through 31. Okay, a lot of it's just finding pairs of angles, or deciding whether things are intersecting or skew or parallel or coincident. Then, if you have extra time, if you finish before the bell rings, do your homework. Remember, we're flipping things around a little bit here. We're doing our vocab in the evenings, so we don't have to spend so much time on vocab, and we can actually work in class and get our questions answered in class. Okay? So there are 2 things I want you to make sure that you do for notes, for homework, and you may get this done in class. One of them is to finish filling out the middle squares of your blue sheet, your blue foldable. It is on my blog. Okay? The other part of it is to make sure you put the parallel postulate and perpendicular postulate from page 127 in your notes. And also, the theorems that are in the middle of this blue foldable are on page 132. So you can either get them from my blog or from page 132. And we're going to talk about parallel lines tomorrow and what they do to corresponding consecutive interior, alternate exterior angles. Okay? Tomorrow I'll also be doing a notes check. I want to make sure that you have your green types of lines foldable filled out. You also have your blue types of angles foldable filled out. All 8 boxes will be filled out of that one. In addition, you'll need to have your parallel and perpendicular postulates in your notes. The parallel and perpendiculars aren't. They're straight from the book, and you can put them on the notes sheet that you just worked on. Okay? Give me a second here.